What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, former unified welterweight world champion, superstar boxer, Keith one-time Thurman, 30 wins, 1 loss, no draws, 22 big wins by way of knockout, 33 years of age, 5'9", 5'7" with a 69-inch arm reach. Keith Thurman has a very interesting take about the top of the welterweight division that includes undefeated, newly crowned, 3-belt, WBC, IBF, WBA, Ring Magazine, welterweight, world champion, superstar boxer, who is widely considered by many to be top 2 best pound-for-pound fighters in the world, in Errol "The Truth" Spence Jr., who is now 28 wins, no losses, no draw, 22 big wins by way of knockout. He's 32 years of age, 5'9.5" with a 72-inch arm reach, an undefeated 3-division world champion, former junior welterweight undisputed world champion, currently the reigning WBO welterweight world champion, who is widely considered by many to be the #1 best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, in Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford is 38 wins, no losses, no draw, 29 big wins by way of knockout. He is 34 years of age, 5'8" with a 74-inch arm reach. With that said, Terence Crawford and Errol Spence, it makes for the biggest fight in the sport of boxing. Both are undefeated and in the prime of their career. But more importantly, what's interesting to note about this particular video is that Errol Spence holds 4 major sanctioned belts. He holds the WBC, the WBA, the IBF, and the Ring Magazine. And Terence Crawford, he holds the WBO, the World Boxing Organization title. And Keith Thurman, oddly enough, believes that this is a terrible thing for the sport of boxing and for the welterweight division. So Keith Thurman, he believes that Errol Spence and Terence Crawford holding all the belts and looking to fight each other is a terrible thing because it simply just doesn't give other upcoming fighters an opportunity to prove themselves and become a world champion. Here's what's ironic about this, is that when Errol Spence was on the rise in the welterweight division and Keith Thurman was a belt holder and the champion, well, Keith Thurman, he never wanted to give Errol Spence the opportunity. And you date back to 2017 when Keith Thurman unified the belts against 2-division world champion Puerto Rican superstar boxer Danny Swift Garcia. Well, Errol Spence that same year, he beat and won his first world title in the UK in front of 50,000 fans against former IBF welterweight world champion British superstar boxer Special K. Kell Brook. And after that, Errol Spence was pleading and campaigning and aggressively pursuing Keith Thurman for a unification bout, in which Keith Thurman never wanted to oblige Errol Spence and give him the opportunity. And he kept telling the fans and Errol Spence, this kid is going to eventually get his opportunity, just not now. And then you had Terence Crawford, who viewed Keith Thurman as the man to beat in the welterweight division. And Terence Crawford was making his debut in the welterweight division. He beat former WBO welterweight world champion Jeff Horn, and he was looking to unify against Keith Thurman, in which Keith Thurman, he stated Terence Crawford needed to prove himself more against better opposition other than Jeff Horn because he was simply too small for the division. So Keith Thurman was the man that was sought out by Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. They both wanted to fight Keith Thurman. And Keith Thurman, he never gave them the opportunity. But yet, now Keith Thurman is saying it's a terrible thing that Terence Crawford and Errol Spence hold all the belts at the top of the division because the young fighters are not going to get their opportunities. But right now, there's another fighter in the welterweight division who would love a fight with Keith Thurman, and that's undefeated, rising, welterweight, superstar title contender, Jaron Ennis, who is 29 wins, no losses, no draw, 27 big wins by way of knockout. He is 24 years of age, 5'10" with a 74-inch arm reach. He's looking to face off against Keith Thurman because you simply don't always need a belt to give a fighter opportunity to fight on the big stage. Now, obviously, every fighter wants to win a world title, but you don't have to have a world title to fight a fighter and give him an opportunity on the biggest stage, because Keith Thurman is still well renowned in the sport of boxing. He only has one loss. That came at the hands of legendary 8 division world champion, iconic Filipino superstar boxer Manny Pac-Man Pacquiao, in which it ended in a split decision loss. Okay? So with that said, Keith Thurman, he refuses to give Jaron Boots Ennis the opportunity. He stated that, according to reports, he wants $10 million to face off against Jaron Boots Ennis. So he's not willing or eager to give Jaron Boots Ennis the opportunity to fight on the big stage against a big name fighter. But yet he's saying it's a bad thing that we're going into the biggest, most highly anticipated fight in the sport of boxing since 1981, when you had 2 legends, retired, iconic Hall of Fame superstar boxers in Sugar Ray Leonard and Thomas Hitman Hearns fight for unification, where there was only 2 belts, the WBC and the WBA. But that was 1981, September 16th. And here we have the biggest fight in the welterweight division, the biggest fight in the sport of boxing, between the 2 undefeated welterweight champions who are top 3 pound-for-pound best fighters in the world. And it's for undisputed, and yet Keith Thurman views it as a bad thing. But he was unwilling to give the upcoming rising fighters, whom ironically happen to be Terence Crawford and Errol Spence, the opportunity to fight for a world title. And when he did, so Keith Thurman, he took a hiatus from 2017 to 2019, but he also stated when he came back that it was a get back year and he still wasn't going to fight Errol Spence, nor was he going to fight Terence Crawford. But yet Keith Thurman is saying it's a terrible thing that they hold all the belts and not give the upcoming rising fighters an opportunity to fight for a world title or to fight on a big stage. When Keith Thurman, well, he has the opportunity, he has the power, he has the strength, he has the ability to give a guy like Jaron Boots Ennis the big stage and allow Jaron Boots Ennis to fight on the big stage in a big fight, in a legacy fight. So he's stating that they're holding up these other fighters' legacy. No, Keith Thurman, they're holding up your legacy in your eyes, because Keith Thurman, he wants to fight one of these guys, but now the tides have turned, okay? Now they hold all the cards. And now Keith Thurman is the man left out, largely in due part to his inactivity and his loss to Manny Pacquiao. After he beat Danny Garcia to become the WBC WBA champion, he was stripped of the WBC title due to inactivity. And then he lost the WBA title to Manny Pacquiao, okay? And so now Keith Thurman has been vying for an opportunity to get back in for a world title opportunity. And now both of these guys who now hold the card, they don't want to give Keith Thurman the opportunity. Errol Spence stated he'll never fight Keith Thurman. And Terence Crawford, well, we know he has his sights set on Errol Spence and then Jamel Charlo at 154, essentially eliminating him fighting Keith Thurman. So he doesn't want to fight Keith Thurman. And Keith Thurman, he wants his opportunity. Keith Thurman was viewed as the best welterweight in the world at one point in time. Keith Thurman versus Errol Spence was viewed as the biggest fight in the welterweight division at one point in time. Keith Thurman recently stated after Terence Crawford beat 2-time welterweight world champion superstar boxer Showtime Shawn Porter that, well, he'll fight Terence Crawford in 8 months. Well, Keith Thurman, he then changed his tune on that fight. So Keith Thurman, he feels like the man left out. And now Keith Thurman, he wants to vie for a position to fight for a world title. And now they hold all the cards and they don't want to give him the opportunity to return to form. So now he has to wait. So he's stating that it's a shame that these guys have to wait. No, it's a shame that you have to wait. And now they have surpassed you as the biggest fight in the sport of boxing. And Keith Thurman's not happy about it. But if you truly believe that they're holding up the division and that these young fighters need the opportunity, well, then go ahead and fight Jaron Boots Ennis and give him an opportunity on the biggest stage. So let's see how this all unfolds and plays out. But that's all I got for y'all. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notification. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. Y'all already know what it is. Shout out to the entire LDBC. Shout out to New Media. Shout out to Black Media Row. Make sure you like.
Oh, it is your boy Jaron Ennis. Make sure you check out Blue Blood Sports TV. It's going down.